still getting coffee and stuff because they just had a break. Go ahead. Go ahead. All right, I'm gonna start. We're all set, and I'm gonna start. I want to thank you all for coming. Obviously, we've broken one of the rules of the unconference, which is having a person on Skype, and we've actually broken another rule too, technically, which is that I actually have more than two moderators, because I've actually brought some scientists in to talk about the topic with us, and I'll introduce them in a minute. So we're just completely breaking all the rules in this panel, which means that we're liberal. Okay, so that's just something to keep in mind. I wanted to start off by sharing a verse with you that I just came across. Gilbert and Sullivan, 1882, the opera Iolanthe. And I want to see if I can get this right, because it doesn't rhyme according to how we pronounce the words now, maybe like it rhymed in 1882 in England. But I think it will set us off on an interesting course. Nature always does contrive that every boy and every gal that's born into the world alive is either a little liberal or else a little conservative. And what we're here to talk about is the scientific research suggesting that that might be like way truer than they knew or could have imagined, and that ideology is rooted in structures in the brain or functions in the brain that differ in some way that can actually be measured between the left and the right. And if that's true, then that's kind of a big deal. And it's going to get everybody talking, and to some extent it already has. But if everybody's going to be talking about it, how do they talk about it responsibly? How do they blog about it responsibly? I came across this stuff because I've just finished a book called The Republican Brain, and you can argue whether I'm being responsible. But certainly I find it highly pertinent to why we can't agree politically about what's factually true, which is what interests me the most, but it's pertinent to many, many, many more things than just that. And the interest in the topic is very high. When someone brings it up, suddenly everybody has these opinions. Oh, that might explain why my Uncle Albert is a conservative and the rest of us are not. And now I understand why he is the way he is. People are default to that, and they say, but how do you explain me? I started out believing in God and being right-wing, but then I changed completely to the other side. And you want to tell them you're an N of one, and we can't explain you based upon this research because we can't say anything statistically about you. But there's this huge interest, and when I wrote about this for Huffington Post, I got 5,000 comments about the topic. Andrea's post, Your Brain on Politics, that she did at my blog when it was Discover, also just got a ton of attention. So we think it's vital to start grappling with this in a nuanced way with the proper caveats, and again, that might suggest that we're liberal. And to understand the caveats further, I want to introduce our two special guests that we have in the room. We have Keith Payne, who is a social psychologist here from UNC. I had no travel budget, so I went local, but no, they're very good scientists. and Lasana Harris, who is a cognitive neuroscientist from Duke. And after I finish, in 1 second, Andrea is going to say some things, and then she's going to finish, and then they're going to say some things, and then we will see where it goes. And we'll have a discussion, or if you just leave with me up here squirming without asking any questions, then I will just talk at you, and I will tell you everything I know. But I'd rather that you talk back at me because it's supposed to be the unconference format. So with that, let's have Andrea chime in.
Okay, can you hear me? Yes?
Middle
okay.
slider.
I guess the reason why I think this topic is really important, it isn't so much that one political party is better than the other, or to rip on them for hating science or anything like that. But the point is that there are differences. And if we recognize that there's differences, can you hear me?
It went out. Keep talking.
Okay, can you hear? Yes.
Why would it do that?
Loose connection.
All right, keep talking. Keep talking.
All right, can you hear me now? Yes? Yeah?
Yeah, I'm using a mic.
Okay. So the point for me is that recognizing that there are differences, you can adjust your communication style depending on which group you're targeting.